Hey, it's Mike with TechPP.com. I'm going to talk to you real quick today about back players and front players and why my methods kind of differ from the other people. Okay, the traditional paintball teams put their most out of shape, chunky players in the back, and they put their fast players in the front. Okay, most front players are out of the game within maybe 30 to 45 seconds. If they're lucky, they're going to be able to close out the game. But most front players, because of where they're at and the positions that they're put in, are generally taken out in the first maybe 30 to 45 seconds of the game. Okay, the bag players are the ones that are the most out of the shape. They're also the slowest, and for many cases, many times, they're also considered probably the worst players on the team. I'm going to tell you to reverse that mentality of who should be a back player and who should be a front player. Okay, in my opinion and from my experience, most chunky out of shape guys, they don't move past the first bunker that you put them at anyway. So why are you going to put them in the very back? Tell them to get to the 40-yard bunker, or tell them to start at the tape or something like that, or put them in a position that they can actually maybe take somebody out as opposed to just putting them in the back center. Put your star players as the back three, the two mid players and your back player. That way, if your front players go, or your heavy, your out of shape players go up there and take out maybe one person or something like that, they're only good for 45 seconds anyway, and they're already out of shape. Why are you going to keep them in the game for 5 minutes? So put your best players in the back of the field, take your most out of shape players and put them in first. They're only good for 45 seconds anyway. Put them in there first, and then whatever damage they do to the other team, great. If they don't do anything, well, whatever. But by putting them in there first, not only is they're going to kind of wear down that other team for that 45 seconds that they're good for anyway, but having your star players in the back, they're going to have the energy, the ability, and the sense to be able to close those games out. Now, as a back player, I play back player. It doesn't mean I'm the best player on the team, but typically I play back. Now, people laugh at me, Mike, why are you playing Snake? Mike, why are you playing Dorito? Okay, as a back player, you have to be the smartest, most agile, fastest person on the team. You need to be able to play every bunker on the field, whether you're playing the MPPL or the X-Ball field. Okay, for front players, the job is easy. Okay, I go to my 40-yard bunker and I look inside and see what I can shoot at. As a back player, you never know which side of the field you may have to fill in it. Okay, so one game I may lose all of my Snake players and have to go and fill into the tape. The other game, I may have to go over to the Dorito side. There may be another game that all of their players are tucked over in the corner and I need to go up to the X to chop half the field off. Okay, so as a back player, not only do you have to know how to lane, so you need to take the person on the team that's the best at laning, not only do you have to be the most in shape, because typically you're the one that's going to do the run through that's going to close the game out, then you've got to go all the way back and get the flag and then go all the way back and hang it. Now on the MPPL fields, you've got to go all the way to the end of the field, grab their flag and then bring it all the way back. You're going to do that to your most out of shape, winded player, he's going to have a heart attack. So put your chunky out of shape players up there first, then have your best players in the back of the field. Okay, now as a back player, the skills that you need to do, one, you need to walk the whole field. You have to walk the entire field because you need to know how to lane from the very beginning. You need to know where to fill, left or right, depending on where you're dropping bodies, and you're also going to know how to close the game out. So as a back player, you have to, I always say, take the best person that you have on the team and put him as a back player. Now let's talk about tape filling and stuff like that. Okay, on the X-Ball field, X-Ball is a tape game. They designed X-Ball to be a tape game. Now you will see pros going up the middle and stuff like that. For the most part, most of the battles are won and lost on the tape. They put the big X in the middle to push players out to the tape for the crowds to watch. So that's why they put that big X in the middle. So you don't really want to go up the middle, you want to go around the tape. Now, as a back player, typically what I do, if I got two people going left, two people going right, the first place that we lose a body from, let's say it's the Snake side, let's say it's the Dorito side, is the place that I go into first. So let's say I'm laning, I'm laning left side, whatever, and I look over and we just drop somebody on the Dorito side. That's the side I need to fill, and that's the side that I'm going to end up finishing the game off on. So as a back player, you need to be able to fill right away whichever side that you're losing players on to keep the pressure up on that side of the field. You don't ever want to sit in the back center. So hopefully that kind of gives you some of the mentality of when you're putting a team together, who you should put as your front players, who you should put as your back player. Take your best players and put them as back and insert players. You'll see a lot of times Oliver Lang will stay in the back. Why? He's awesome at closing games. You'll always see a lot of times the bigger guys in the pro teams sometimes will usually hit front. So take your chunky out of shape players, put them in the front. They're only good for 45 seconds anyway and they're out of breath. And take your best players and start them off in the back. And then as your front players get wiped out, your mid players, your better players are going to fill in right behind them. And then when those back players are getting winded, you've got your star players ready to go over there and take them down. So email me if you have any questions. I hope this helps. And I'm going to talk a little bit about reloading. Now, nobody can get this perfect, but if you can, it works out really good. Now, luckily, this loader has a speed feed. If you don't like using the speed feed, I can still help you out also. The thing I'll suggest that you do is as you're shooting and as you're keeping somebody down, always open your loader first, then reach back and get your pod. You'll see a lot of players, if they reach back and get their pod first, now they've got this in their hand and they're looking for a finger to try to open up their loader. So what I always suggest is as you're shooting and you've got that guy in, don't let him back out. Start three-balling him, three shot, three shot, three shot. Open your loader first, then reach back and get your pod. So as you're back in, you can practice this at your house. You're shooting, 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 shooting. Open your loader first, then reach back and get your pod. Your loader's open, you're controlling, you're controlling, you're controlling. Then you can dump your next pod in there and keep shooting them. To your opponent, it's going to be like, how many shots does he have in his loader? A lot of players, they'll sit there and they'll shoot, 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 and then all of a sudden when they start running out of paint, then they drop their gun, then they start reaching for their pod. By the time they pop back out again, it could be a whole new field. They could move up to the tape. That guy that you were keeping in could move up. I wait all the time. I'll sit there and wait for somebody to run out of paint. I know it's going to be 10 seconds before they go and reload. And something else too, shooting 13 balls per second, your loader holds about 180 paintballs. Okay, and it takes you about 5 seconds to reload. So that should tell you that as you're shooting, you count down from 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, then you open up 5, 4, you're starting to run out of paint, 3, 2, 1, pour, and you just reload it. So that way there's no gap in your stream. So about 10 to 12 seconds of shooting is all you're going to have at 13 balls per second before you have to reload again. So keep that in mind. And something else too, on your pack, I'm going to show you a way to arrange your pods on your pack so that it makes it easier to grab. Okay, what I do is I take my pods and take the tabs and face them towards my love handles. I don't know what the hell else to call them. But take your pods and face them towards the love handles. So as you can see there, they're both, all the pods are facing towards here. So these two are facing down towards here. These two are facing down towards here. So now what happens is as I go to reload, let's get my pack back on real quick. Okay, when I go back here to grab my pod, my thumb is already on the tab when I come out to pour it into the gun. So you can see it again. I don't even have to worry about where my tab is at. I don't have anything to worry about. I reach back, and as you can see, my tab is already where my thumb is at. So when I go to pour it into the loader, my thumb is already on the tab. So I'll show you on the other side. My tabs are facing towards my love handles. So I reach back and I grab my pod, and when I grab it, the tab is already on my thumb. So set your pack up like that. Set your pack up to where your pods are facing towards this way. So these two are facing down towards this way. So you can see the pod. Here's the hinge. Here's the little piece of plastic there to help you open up the pod. I take this and face it up, and I take the tab here to open up, and I face it down basically towards my love handle. This way when I go to grab it, I don't have to worry about where the tab is at. I pop the pack off and my thumb is already on the tab and the pod is ready to open. Hope that helps.